Welcome to Sage 50 Peachtree Accounting Video 3, Putting in the Chart of Accounts. The Chart of Accounts, otherwise known as the General Ledger. The most important thing to note here is that every account has three pieces of data that you must put in. You must put in an account number, a name, which is also the description of the account, and then you also must tell the computer what kind or what type of account this is. Now, an account number cannot be changed once you create an account. The account is really based on the account number, which is the most important information. You can delete the account, but you cannot change the account number of an account once that account has been created. All the other information, such as the description, which is the name, or even the account type, can be changed and modified later. From the main menu, click Maintain Chart of Accounts. This window is the window that allows us to create new accounts in our Chart of Accounts. First, we type in the ID. Now remember, all of these accounts are coming from page 113 in your Jeffrey Slater textbook. I am recreating problem 3A3. The first account number they give is 111, and the name is Cash. The type, you might notice, are more detailed than simply the categories that we learned about in Chapter 1 of Accounting. Notice that both account receivable and cash are both assets, but we will choose cash because this account will behave specifically like a cash account and not like an accounts receivable account. I do promise a better explanation of account types will be given to you in more detail when we get to a later chapter in the program. Now, click Save and New, and you may notice that it clears the window, but it is saved on the list. If I click this arrow, you notice that the name, the number, and the type are all here for me to call back, and if I wanted, I could change either of these two things, and that would edit the account, and then I would resave it. But right now, I want to clear it because I want to type in the next one, 112, and the name of that is Accounts Receivable. Now, in this example, we will not choose the type account receivable. It would not be appropriate for the way this exercise is done. Instead, we're going to choose a different category. We're going to choose asset, but more specifically, this behaves as a current asset. So we will click Other Current Asset. Of course, in a future exercise, when we do a different type of company, accounts receivable, the account will be account receivable type. But we are not doing it that way this time. This time we're doing it as Other Current Asset, and it will be explained later. Save and New. Now we notice when we click this arrow, there are two accounts on our list. The first one we made and the one we made just now. If we want to edit the one we made just now, we can click on it and it comes back and we could change the name or change the type and then click Save, and the account will be changed to the way that we left it in these fields. Remember, you cannot change an account number. If you do, you will be creating a new account. So let's click Save and New to clear the screen. Now, the next one is 131. The name is Supplies. Now, this is also another current asset. When I click Save and New, it clears the screen, but I can click this arrow and I can see that the number, the name, and the type have been saved. And there's only a few more. There's 141, which is equipment. And we all know from studying accounting that equipment is a fixed asset. Save and New. And now we have all four assets from the exercise on the list. There was only one liability. That was accounts payable. And of course, we will not choose account payable type. That's not the way we're using it this time. For now, we will choose Other Current Liabilities, just for the way that we're doing this particular exercise. And I click save and new. The account type that you choose when you create an account will determine how the account will behave. It will determine how Peachtree will use the account. And we are about to witness our first example. We all know that we must have at least one equity account in a business so that we can close all of the income, expenses, and withdrawals account to this equity account. When we studied accounting, the name of this account was capital. And we learned when we studied accounting that all of the income and all of the expenses and all of the withdrawals get closed to one account. Sage 50 Accounting will do the closing automatically for you. The only thing you have to do is tell the computer which particular account within your list of accounts is the one equity account that all of the income and all of the expenses and all of the withdrawals get finally closed to. The name of this account is your retained earnings account. And even though we did not use the word retained earnings when we studied our beginning accounting, you should know that the retained earnings account is the capital account that all of the income, expense, and withdrawals gets closed to. Let us see how to enter this now. The number will be 311, just like it is in the textbook. The name will be A. Glover Capital. Now the type is not just equity, it's equity retained earnings. Equity retained earnings. You must have at least one account in your chart of accounts with this type, retained earnings. You must tell the computer which account everything gets automatically closed to when the computer does the closing for you. When we click Save and New, we see that this has now been added to the list. The next account on the list is the other equity account, 312, A. Glover, withdrawals. Now, this is an equity account because we know withdrawals is under the category of owner's equity. But since we already chose capital to be the main retained earnings account, we know that this account withdrawals does, in fact, get closed to capital. So we will not just choose equity, we will choose equity gets closed, which means whatever the balance is in this account at the end of the period will automatically be transferred to this account. So we choose equity gets closed. And then for withdrawals, it's equity gets closed, and we click Save and New. The rest are very easy. Placement fees earned, that's account number 411. That's placement fees earned. And obviously that is income. Placement fees earned, save and new. And then obviously the rest are expenses. 511 is wage expense. And then of course the category of the wage expense is expense, save and new. And you can see this is on the list. And there are two more that I will add now.